Hey, yo, what's up? It's time for the Smoke Session 612. I'm your man, Big Ed. I'm here with the Nasty Boys, OG Tim Wilson, and my brother Waze. We about to smoke. They done popped the gummy. I'm about to smoke.
I done popped the gummy.
Roll with the rolling.
We're gonna talk about some dumbasses.
Before you go on, I would like to just give a little plug. The name of my gummy is called Marion Berry. You don't know if you don't know the significance of that, do your homework.
Right? Because I'm not gonna tell you this time. I know, but I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna let you do some homework. And then we got this week in hip hop history, and I got two more lists for you.
Okay.
So light it up, roll it up, light it up, put it in the air, and get ready for the Smoke Session 612. All right. Let's take a shot first, fellas.
I've been waiting for you to say that ever since you said I was in the
I
building.
just poured me a tiny shot.
Oh, okay.
I got
Okay.
a party to go to tomorrow. I can't go. I'm going.
I'm going golfer in the morning. I don't give a fuck.
Cheers, fellas.
Cheers.
Yeah,
All
baby.
right.
Ah, damn.
Dumbass
I want to say big up to Dejan and Jaleel. Dejan never misses an episode of any show that's on this network, so I got to give a shout out to him for that.
Oh, hell yeah. Shit, I love him. In fact, I hope I'm making him proud this week by not having the problems that we've had the other few weeks. On that note, let's talk about some dumbasses.
Messes.
Dumbass number one.
Oh, number one.
It's a group of kids, group of people. Not gonna say kids, group of people, because they never said their ages.
Okay.
But here in Minneapolis, we have this area that we call the quarry. And these people were inside the Cub Foods that's at the quarry. Shoplifting.
Let me back you up real quick. Define what the quarry is.
It's just basically like a strip mall. They got a Cub Foods, PetSmart, Target.
Okay. All right. So it's like a strip mall. All right.
Yeah. So they were in the Cub Foods. They were shoplifting. And in order to get away, I don't know how they did it, but they got in the ceiling. Moved a little bit and fell down.
Okay.
Where the police were waiting for them.
Okay.
That's some straight out of a comedy movie shit.
All right.
Fallout Boys.
Rest in peace to my man. I'm not even gonna name his. I'm gonna call him. I don't want to call him by his initials because his son has his initials. And okay, rest in peace to my man Jess. I'm gonna say that. Okay, so I know a guy. He did this exact same shit. Okay. The cops came in his house, was looking for him to arrest him, and we were all going, dang, what's going on with Jess? What's happening, right? And we thought something was wrong because they were searching the house. They couldn't find him nowhere. They could not find him. He was hiding in the attic. They were leaving, and he came falling through the ceiling.
Yeah.
They was on their way out there and gave up the search. We just searched everywhere. He is not here. And they had gave up, was on their way out the house, and blam, he came falling through the ceiling.
Damn.
I'll never forget that.
Oh wow.
I'll never forget it.
So-
Rest his soul, man. Real good friend of mine, good friend of the family. They like family to me, as a matter of fact. So, Yeah, it was, but that was, you gotta admit that was funny.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, that was my guy, and
So
one of the best baritone singers I ever knew.
okay. So the Cub Foods Bandits, they're number one dumbass.
Okay,
Oh, nice.
Number two dumbass. There's this couple. They get into a car chase with the police in Eagan, Minnesota. They drive to St. Paul, Minnesota. Their car breaks down on an overpass. Guy gets out, he starts running. Female gets out, she starts running. She jumps off the overpass.
not the best thing, not the best idea.
Hits the ground, breaks a leg. 5 minutes later, they're both arrested.
Not the brightest idea. I saw one worse when I was in
Yeah,
Houston. Because in Houston, the overpasses are extremely high.
yeah.
They can be 100. This particular one was about 125 feet high.
Holy shit.
But they crossed because they had one that crossed under it, right?
Yep.
It was over, and there was one that crossed under it. And he was in that top one running from the car. His car broke down up there, whatever, or ran out, whatever. For whatever reason, the car stopped. He was running from the cops. And he was running. So he jumped out the car, was on foot, and tried to jump from that top one, hoping to hit that second one.
Right.
And then be gone. Well, he missed that second one.
Oh, dang.
And he went splat in the middle of the freeway.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I remember that. That was right by my dealership. Not during work hours. I wasn't out there. It was the night. The next day, we were like, that's where he splatted.
Yeah.
Right.
So in both of these stories, I know similar stories. It happened to me in my past, or
That's
didn't
crazy.
happen to me, but happened around me.
Right. And no, folks, we did not plan that ahead of time.
No, we did not plan that ahead of time. I know Big Ed did plan that ahead of time. To be honest, he been trying to set me up on some shit.
How would I know? How would I know that you had those stories?
That's I was gonna wait till we was off air to ask you, but if you want to confess now, you can. I don't know who you've been talking to.
All right, dumbass number 3,
Number 3.
Governor Greg Abbott of Texas.
Okay.
You know when you go to the swimming pool, and they got those lines. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They got the big plastic line with the rope.
Yes.
He's putting one in the Rio Grande to stop immigration.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's gonna work. That's gonna work.
You know how many times I've heard lifeguards say off the buoys? And you mean to tell me he thought this was a good idea?
That's gonna work. That is brilliant.
So those are this week's dumbasses.
So we got Fallout Boys, Overpass Libya, and Greg Abbott.
Yep.
You know what? I am tempted to go with Greg Abbott, and I hate to do that because it's politics.
That's just some dumb shit. What the hell?
I mean, because he jumped off the overpass was stupid. The jump was stupid. That was very dumb. I mean, that's very close. That's very close because, I mean, but I get it. You're trying to get away. You can't outrun them. You think, I'll just go this way.
Right.
And then you're once you go over, you realize I fucked up. But I've seen that on more than once. That happened actually not too last summer over here by my house. Somebody tried to jump off 75, and the cops they stole a Hellcat not out the dealership, but out of the plant.
Oh wow.
Right off the line, hot off the line, they just stole it and was running from the cops coming up 75. realized they wasn't getting, ran out of gas right here by my house, right here by where I live at, my hood, right over by, actually, right over by where Big Meech and them live. This happened. This literally happened right behind Big Meech and them house. And he ran out of gas on the freeway, and he jumped out and tried to jump over, and he landed like in the, and he landed over there by right. I mean, literally, it was actually behind Roland's house because Roland was on this side, Big Meech was on the other side, and right behind Roland and them crib, Roland West. For those that've been watching BMF, Roland West is a big part of the story, and they always hanging on his porch. And that actually is Roland's porch, and this happened like right behind that house. He jumped over, and the cops pulled over, and he was like, "He jumped over. Boop, no, y'all can slow down. We got him." He ain't going nowhere. He's not going anywhere. He broke both his legs and arm down there. Yeah, so I've seen that one happen. It don't make it any less dumb.
Right.
No.
In fact, the fact that I've seen it happen and you still did it, I'm going to vote for number 2.
Okay. Ways?
Man, look, okay, so mine is very clear. I have to go with Greg Abbott because this man thought he was stopping illegal immigration. But this motherfucker gave them a finish line.
Wow.
It's the law of unintended consequences.
Wow. He gave them a finish line.
I mean, okay.
That's funny. I like it.
I thought it was stupid when Trump proposed the wall because he'd have to extend the wall at least 200 miles out into the ocean.
Guess
But
what?
even then, they're going to go around the wall and still come in. Or they're going to get a big ass ladder, put up against the wall, and just climb over.
Sugar don't go on rich.
But every time we at the pool, I go under or over the ropes all this goddamn time. The kids do it too. So I gotta agree with Waze on this one.
I go under the rope by accident. So now all you did was gave these motherfuckers an excuse. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you gave him a finish line.
I went under by accident.
So I gotta go with Governor Greg Abbott for thinking that that's gonna stop illegal immigration. They're getting here anyway.
He just made it more fun.
Now we can race to it.
Right. Now they gotta go. So this week, Governor Greg Abbott, you are this week's dumbass
Dumbass.
Dumbass.
of the week.
Yeah.
That brings us to our first story this week.
Okay. Damn, we just getting to the first story. I feel like this show been going on for about 40 minutes already.
That's because we had a deep discussion on the dumbasses.
Yeah, we
And
did.
we had
And it's my gummy kicking in.
yeah,
What happens with my
gummies. That's what the hell it
You
is.
know what happens when my gummy kick in? I get loose lips.
That's what,
And you know what they say? Loose lips sink ships, and maybe that's what happened to the submarine. Somebody was
damn.
on gummies. Somebody had gummies up in that bitch.
Oh, damn.
You said it wasn't an implosion. It was the result of thunder thighs.
They were smoked out on there. Man, somebody had to bring a blunt.
Somebody was gummied out. Somebody had gummies for everybody.
Man,
Bumpy Knuckles, also known as Freddie Fox.
Bumpy Knuckles. I like Bumpy Knuckles.
He did an interview recently. And he says that our teachers and forefathers, actually he did a Instagram post. He says our teachers and forefathers aren't getting the proper credit they deserve. He says that when everybody talks about rap, they start in the 90s. Most people don't usually talk about what come before. Your thoughts?
I'm with him. Um, I actually had this discussion last week, or a couple of weeks ago. May have been last
Mhm.
week. I know it was recently because they were doing Detroit. The 50-year hip hop history, Detroit hip hop here, and me and my crew has left off the list. We're not even a blip. We're not even thought of. Nobody even puts us in the conversation, and we were the first. And that's how it is. And I even mentioned, I said, because we were the pioneers. Sometimes the pioneers get lost.
Yep.
The pioneers get lost in the sauce. We were the first ones, and we did it when nobody else was doing it. We did it when it wasn't vogue, when it wasn't in thing to do. So therefore, nobody remembers us.
Right.
Nobody saw us. We are a blip. As the people you got on the list that came after us, that a lot of them spurred from somebody that saw us, or they saw somebody that saw us, and then it started when the culture really started to build, the infrastructure started to build more, because there was nobody doing this in studios and stuff before us. So it was people starting studios and doing that kind of stuff, and really producing, like Jerry Flynn was really started producing hip hop and bringing other cats in. So and that's when people started seeing it and recognizing it, and noticing people, and therefore those were the ones that stemmed from us are the ones that's getting the credit for being for getting credit for being part of the hip hop history. And I'm still proud of it. But like I told him, even though my crew does not get the recognition,
Hmm.
I'm still proud of the history, and I'm still proud of the evolution. I'm
Right.
proud to see the T Grizzlies and other payrolls, the other Detroit rappers getting on now, seeing where Detroit hip hop has gone. I'm proud of all of that, but it does sting a little bit when I see them celebrating the hip hop history of Detroit, and the 50-year hip hop history of Detroit, and the Klan is left off of that list, and the Klan is not included. The Klan is not even invited to the party.
Yeah.
And the truth is, we were out there before everybody. Everybody in the city had dance groups, and they was going up. We were going up against them, and we were putting we were putting hip hop on the map. We
Right.
wasn't even intending to do that. That wasn't our intention. You know what I'm saying? We were just doing what we liked to do. It. We wasn't no dancers. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? We wasn't dancers. We were rappers.
Yep.
And nobody else was at the time. But the pioneers get lost in the sauce. So that's how I feel about it. And I get it. And there are some 80s, a lot of 80s rappers that deserve love, and they get it. I don't agree totally with Bumpy Knuckles that people don't always start with the 80s. I mean with the 90s. A lot of people start with the 80s, but very few people start with the 70s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nobody starts with the 70s.
And that's when it all started. 1973, Sedgwick Avenue.
Thank you. It started in the 70s. So people don't give the 70s the credit it deserves. 80s get a lot of love, not as much as 90s, but the 80s get a lot of love.
Right.
80s really put it on the map, right?
Hmm.
Whereas the pioneers were in the 70s.
Right.
Yep.
And that's where I'm there. I'm crew. I mean, granted, we're not New York. We're Detroit. So when I say I'm not saying that we were in the 70s, even though we started in '79, I'm still not considering us '70s. But I'm just saying is that's the true pioneers that nobody talk about.
Yep.
I guarantee there's guys in that '70s culture that really put hip hop on the map that nobody mentions. That's the Klan. That's us.
And right. And see, I
Can
don't
I
hear a
just
lot of
say
people.
one more thing? I'm sorry.
Go
And the
ahead.
Klan was me, Skin, my boy Skin in Charlotte, and it was Johnny the Mechanic, also known back then as J Bone, and we were the Klan, and that was That's why we still get together, and that's why we're getting together for 4th of July. The three of us, got this whole thing started. So that's how deep. Just real quick, just a quick thought of how deep it goes with me and Jab. I mean, we go back that far. So
Right.
just to put that on, just to put that out there, I got to give my guys some love because that's still two of my best friends in my life in the world. So,
Right.
that's that.
Even though y'all going through a war.
Right?
We always were competitive. I mean, we probably broke up. We broke up largely because me and him was competing over who was the leader.
Right.
And if we wasn't so competitive, we probably would have made a bigger stance because what truly should have happened was he should have backed down and let me be the show leader, and I should have backed down and let him be the business leader. You know, he should have been the leader of the group where I was the star of the show, and I wanted to be the leader of the group when he should have been, and he wanted to be the star of the show when I should have been.
Right.
So instead of one of us backing down and saying, just because you're the star of the show don't mean you're the leader, and just because you're the leader don't mean you're the star of the show, we were too young to grasp that concept. We looked at the leader as the star and the star as the leader as synonymous terms, and so there was a struggle there because that's where we clashed.
Yeah.
He was the better leader, and I was the better performer.
Okay.
Right, and and eventually, so we clashed, and he went out the group, and me and Skin went on, and he started his own group, and me and Skin battled him and blew him the fuck out, and that's where it started. That's where the rivalry started. That's where the rivalry started. Now y'all know the real history. Now y'all know what really happened. That's what really went down, and it wasn't close. And I've owned him. I've owned him ever since.
Right.
I owned him then, and I own him now.
So shout out to Johnny Mechanic.
If you ain't watching, they'll tag you. I'm gonna tag you in this because I want you to see this.
Make sure he watches. That brings us to it.
Wait, I want you to make just a short clip just for me. This clip. Give me this clip. I want to give it back to you. You know how you used to do, we don't do it no more. You used to do the little black and white clip before the show.
Oh yeah.
Use that. Use that.
Okay.
Put that right on the front, and I'm gonna send it right to him and say, you gotta see this because I'm talking about clan history. Don't start with me and him. Start with the clan history because he gonna watch it because he gonna say, yes, that's right. Tell it like it is, Squirrel. Tell it, Squirrel, because that was me, Squirrel, back then. Tell it, Squirrel. And then I'm gonna get to the real shit. I want him to get it. I want him to hear it.
All right.
I own you. I'm sorry, gummies.
That brings us to a new segment.
Another gummy. Oh, my bad.
Oh, you can go ahead and take another gummy.
Hell no, that would be so high. I would. This show would be over. Get enough now.
That brings us to a new segment here on the Smoke Session 612.
A new segment.
A new segment
Okay.
where we go back through the 50 years of hip hop, and we're gonna do a deep dive on one aspect. You know, each week it's either gonna be an album, a movie,
Or just something in the culture. Something that builds
something in the culture.
I love it.
And since we were just talking about old school, we're gonna go back old school.
Can't do old school without playing the old school theme song, baby.
Right, right. On May 4th, 1984.
84. Oh man, you talking about my speed now?
There was a low budget musical cast with a bunch of unknown actors and dancers. The movie I'm talking about is Breaking.
Man, there was no unknown dancers in that. There was some very there was some, but There was a very, very, very well-known dancer in that movie.
Shabba-Doo.
Shabba-Doo.
The movie stars Shabba-Doo, and Michael Boogaloo Shrimp as Turbo.
As Turbo. And I got a story about Turbo. I'm gonna let you finish. That's a Kanye drop. I'm gonna let you finish. But I
Okay.
got a story about Turbo that is very important and is gonna deserve its own little portion. So I'm gonna let you finish first.
Okay.
Ice-T was in Breaking.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
He did a
played-
song called Reckless. And Reckless was dope.
He was actually in Breaking 1 and 2.
Breaking 2 is whack. Breaking 1 is the only one that count.
Okay.
He did Reckless. Reckless was a hit. Reckless was a killer in the club. That was a breaking. That was me and Jab used to break dance to Reckless all the time. That was our favorite break dance. Yes, we did that too. God damn it, I was young once. Damn it. I know.
Well,
I know.
While some people still see Breaking as a corny Hollywood interpretation, it beat out movies like Beat Street.
It did. Breaking was bigger than Beat Street because it was better promoted. You got to understand, Beat Street was a New York movie. Breaking was done in California, where movies are made, and they know how to promote movies right. And so, yeah, but Beat Street was better. Beat Street was I won't say Beat Street was better. Beat Street was more hip hop than Breaking. Beat Street was a lot more hip hop, but because hip hop was underground, Beat Street is a lot more hip hop than Breaking.
Here's another little interesting.
But Breaking
fact.
was good though. Breaking was dope.
Here's another little interesting fact. It beat out 16 Candles in ticket sales when it came out.
It was big. We all went to see Breaking. 16 Candles got bigger over time because as HBO came out and you start seeing it on TV, you found out 16 Candles was actually funny as hell. And it became, and the Molly Ringwald and what's my guy, Iron Man,
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, and that little crew, it was a little crew of them. They made a bunch of movies, and they just became teen classics back then, and that was a big deal. So they became popular by way of video and HBO and shit like that. But at the movies, breaking was the big deal because hip hop was taking off. Hip hop was starting to take off, and breakdancing was a big deal.
Yeah.
Because it was new. It was new. And it was what we all wanted to see and do. And what else about it?
Did you know that Shabba-Doo?
Yes.
Adolfo Quinones.
Yes.
He actually he got his actual start in a Lionel Richie video.
Yep. I knew that. Yes.
Where they said he actually.
Oh, the black people knew who Shabba-Doo was.
Yeah. Man, Ozone was my favorite. Ozone was my favorite character. Turbo was my favorite dancer.
Okay. Yeah. Shabba-Doo, we all knew who Shabba-Doo was back then. Shabba-Doo, it was a group. It was a group they used to do pop locking, and Shabba-Doo was the star of that group. He was on a TV show. He did the Lionel Richie video. Shabba-Doo did a lot of shit.
Yeah.
We knew who Shabba-Doo, and that was another reason why Breaking was bigger than Beat Street. We didn't know who anybody in Beat Street. That was the only person we knew in Beat Street who they shopped to us as the star of Beat Street was Radon Chong.
Okay.
That was her debut, and she was Chong's daughter from Cheech and Chong. Tommy Chong.
Yep.
Cheech and Chong is his daughter, and we were like, damn, she fine. And Beat Street got some love because you wanted to see Radon Chong. Right? That was that. But Shabba-Doo was the selling point of Breaking, and he was much bigger than Radon Chong.
Okay.
Much more popular.
Now,
amongst us.
Now this part I didn't know. Because I actually thought that her first movie came before Breaking, or after Breaking, rather. Lucinda Dickey, the female lead, Kelly, in the movie. She actually played in Ninja 3. What was it called? Ninja 3, The Domination.
Yeah, I don't remember the chick from Breaking. I only remember the chick from Beat Street.
Oh, okay. Well, it was a white lady. Her name was Lucinda Dickey.
Yeah,
Kelly.
she didn't mean nothing. Breaking was all about Shabba-Doo and Turbo.
Oh yeah.
Really about Shabba-Doo on the way in, but it was also about but Turbo turned the movie out though.
Right. Yeah, Turbo brought the comic relief and made the movie.
Then Reckless became a hit, and we used to be with Reckless, and it wasn't until years later when Ice-T got famous after gangster rap, when he did Ryan Pays, name of his first album was Ryan Pays. He did Ryan Pays, and it was all gangster. And the 6 in the morning stops at my door, and that shit blew up, and he got popular then. And then he did an interview and mentioned that he was in Breaking, and you went back and watched Breaking again, like, oh shit, that is Ice-T.
Right?
But there's more. Wait till y'all get to my Turbo story. Y'all think I'm talking too much now. I'm saying I'm dropping a lot of jewels right now, but my Turbo story is actually the biggest story of this movie.
Well, go ahead and tell it.
Not until you're done.
I'm done now. Well, I was going to bring up Michael Chambers, a.k.a. Turbo.
Turbo. This story is so big, it deserves an introduction. All itself, I'm telling you, and this is not conjecture. This is fact that you did not know. Because this came from the words of the man, the myth, the legend himself. Turbo is the guy that taught Michael Jackson how to do the moonwalk.
What?
If you watch Breaking, there is a scene where he's dancing with a broom. Because that was we're talking way before Mike Jackson did the moonwalk on TV.
Right.
We're talking well before that. And he's dancing with a broom, and he does the moonwalk. We used to call it the glide back then.
Right.
So before he did, we used to call it the glide in Detroit, and we were doing it before that, before Breaking. I mean, it was already something that the black community was doing, right? But we called it the glide out here, and they called it the moonwalk in California, evidently. And Michael Jackson saw Breaking, and in that scene with Turbo with the broom, he was like, dude, you gotta show me how to do that shit. And that's who taught Michael Jackson how to do the moonwalk.
Wow.
So that's a tidbit for you. That's when I told you I had a jewel that was bigger than all the jewels I was dropping. That's the biggest one. Take it to the bank.
That is massive.
Yeah, it was.
The bank. Take it to the bank. Somebody asked him before in an interview, where did you learn that? You know, because what made you do it? Where did you learn it? And he told it. He told it. He didn't bite his tongue at all. He told it. He said he learned it from the guy that he said he was wild. I saw him doing that movie in the movie, and I went to him and asked him to show me that move.
That's dope.
He said it. It's out of his own mouth. And I never saw that interview a second time.
That's dope.
And I said, Turbo taught that nigga how to do that shit.
And you know, now that you say something about it, I remember.
Waze is Googling it right now.
I am.
I remember watching them. I remember watching them do the moonwalk in that movie.
In that scene, is
that the same one where he's dancing on the ceiling?
No, I don't know.
Oh, that was in 2.
I know he's dancing with. Yeah, probably was 2 because that's why I didn't like 2. It got out of hand. But no, he was dancing with a broomstick. He was dancing with a broom. It was a scene. He was dancing with a broom, and he did the moonwalk. And that was where Michael Jackson first saw it and was like,
I think that's the scene where he was making
Call
fun.
that guy. I got to learn how to do that.
He was making fun of Shabba-Doo of Ozone for being in love with Kelly. Yeah.
I don't think so. In that scene, I think he was just cleaning up. If I remember correctly, I can't say that I've seen this movie within the last 20 to 30 years.
Right.
So I don't recall exactly what was happening in the scene. I thought he was just cleaning. My mind says I remember him. It was a scene he was cleaning up. He was in the room by himself. He was cleaning up, and he stopped and started dancing with the broom because the music was playing. And I do remember he was dancing with a broom. That's a fact. But as far as the setup of it, if you've seen it within the last 30 years, you could be right because I haven't. But my memory remembers he was in a room by himself doing it, and I thought he was just cleaning up, and the music was playing, and he was dancing while he was sweeping. He was sweeping and dancing at the same time, and he did the moonwalk during that scene.
Okay. On to the next story. Big ups to hip hop for 50 years. Oh shit! Hold on. That brings up something that I forgot to say earlier. I watched a documentary on Hulu about the 50 years of hip hop.
Okay.
And they had none of the pioneers. This goes back to what you were saying earlier. They had none of the pioneers on there. None of them.
When you say none of the pioneers, who are you referring to?
They had nobody from, I'd say, 1973 to 89.
How do you do a show?
Wait a minute. From 73 to 89, they skipped the whole 80s?
Yep.
This must be a multi-part series.
I'm sitting here like, yeah,
I only saw
they might be breaking it into different eras because there's no way you can tell the story of hip hop without Run DMC.
How are you going to celebrate?
They mentioned Sedgwick Avenue.
I was just gonna say, how are you going to celebrate 50 years of hip hop and not cover it from the beginning?
They mentioned Sedgwick Avenue, but when they were talking about it, they had Fat Joe and a couple other people on.
So my thing is this. And that there could be explanations for that. It could be, because I'll tell a short story after I make my point because I'll forget my point. My thing is this. When it comes to it, the world sees hip hop starting with Rapper's Delight.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Let's tell it like it is. So even if you are a novice and you're not going all the way back to the true history in the 70s, and you were skipping the 70s era of hip hop, so to speak, which is all the pioneers, the people that got it started, that made it a thing, right? You can't skip Rapper's Delight going forward.
No.
Because Rapper's Delight brought it to the rest of us. It took it out of New York and gave it to us. And Run DMC took it took it beyond us, not away from us, took it beyond us to the other side of America.
Yeah.
And other parts of the world. And since then, it's turned into something that nobody thought it had. Well, I won't say nobody. Those above us, I should say, not above us, but those ahead of us, the 70s era people, they all saw rap as a fad in the 80s.
Yeah.
So even when I remember making a suggestion when I was in broadcast school to do a show of classic rap songs. We didn't call it hip hop yet. Classic rap. And he said, it hasn't been around long enough, and people think it's just a fad. You don't know that it's going to last long enough to have classics. So you can't do it. And there was a phrase that a local classic rock station used that I told him, and I said, yeah, but it doesn't have to be old to be a classic. And and he had to, you could see it stunned him because he knows that he listens to classic rock, and the classic rock station here, that was their slogan. It doesn't have to be old to be a classic. So therefore they could play new songs that they felt already met the standard of a classic.
Yep.
That's how they expanded their own playlist. And when I said that, he was like, "You got a point, right? You got a point." But my point is that it was thought to be a fad. They didn't see it going as far as it's gone. They didn't see it lasting
Right.
past the 90s, leave alone into the 21st century.
Yeah.
Right.
And not only lasting but dominating the industry. It's taken over the industry. And it has dominated the industry for how many years now?
50.
No, it didn't dominate for all 50,
Well,
but it's dominated
30.
for a
At
good,
least 30.
it's dominated for a good 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was gonna say at least 30.
yeah, it's been the dominant genre over the last 20 to 30 years.
Every other genre has had a form or element of hip hop kind of woven in over these last 30 years.
I want to give props to somebody.
Who's that?
I want to give props to KRS-One. KRS-One, a long time ago. Back when, remember I told y'all the story about when I battled the Fat Boys?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a short time later, we had KRS-One. It was a short time later, a couple weeks, maybe 3 weeks later. We had KRS-One at the studio. I didn't challenge him, though.
Good choice.
I didn't challenge KRS-One. I was like, no, I'm not going there. I'm not going there this week. I thought I was better than the Fat Boys. I didn't think I was better than KRS-One. So that's why I challenged the group I thought I could beat. And I won. But I didn't mess with Chris. But Chris said something that day that hit me. And I remember telling it to somebody that said, "He's stupid. He crazy." I was like, I don't know, but he was convincing. Chris said, and this was a long time ago, man. Damn, think about it. Fat Boys was hot. So you know how long that had to be.
Yeah.
He said, hip hop is the last true genre of music. From here, it is the first and the only genre of music that you can combine with every genre of music there is. You can combine what we do on top of every other style of music on the map. All of them.
Yeah.
You can rap over country, blues, rock, everything. Right?
Afro beats.
So it is. That's why he said it's the truth. It's not going to be another major genre after this. This is it. This is the last one. And everybody told me he was crazy when I repeated that. And now all the other genres are turning into hip hop.
Every other genre has a form of hip hop in it.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about like in the 2000s, my era of time, you had people like Linkin Park who incorporated hip hop and hip hop style of lyrics
Not only
with a rock feel. And then now, even today, you have this country hip hop offshoot of the genre of hip hop, where it is bringing country and hip hop together into its own melody.
actually, to tell you the truth, it's actually bringing country, hip hop, and rock together.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at the top of the country charts right now and the top of the rock charts right now, Jelly Roll's sitting at the top of both of them.
And you are right. And I was just listening to somebody talk about Jelly Roll yesterday. And a large part of his success is his story as well.
Yep. And his story comes from hip hop.
No, his story comes from a hard life. There's a Hulu movie or something. There's some kind of documentary.
I watched it.
Okay, so that's his story has got a lot of people, a lot of country fans in his corner. You know, his story brings white folks to tears.
Yeah.
Be real. Just to be politically incorrect though.
And not only the white folks, shit, it brought me to tears.
Yeah. So his story is a large reason he's successful.
So, but his story is born out of hip hop. That's where he started. He started rapping before he started doing the country and rock.
Okay. So he went to prison for rapping?
No, he didn't go to prison for rapping.
Okay.
He went to prison for selling drugs.
Of the story I'm talking about. That's the part of the story I'm talking about. But it is. I get your point. And I hear it. But it's interesting because it started with all the criticism that hip hop was using R&B music.
Mm-hmm.
Hip hop was using rock music. Hip hop was using country music, and now R&B is using hip hop.
Yep.
Rock is using hip hop. Country is using hip hop.
Yep.
When it comes to R&B essentially has kind of
meshed.
Itself.
It is meshed. It is meshed with is hip hop and R&B. It's like hip hop and R&B is its own subgenre of both R&B and hip hop.
That's when you get the people like a Juice WRLD.
So you listen to Kim and you say R&B, but you listen to a lot of the other R&B artists and they're hip hop and R&B.
Right.
You listen to Chris Brown and he's hip hop R&B.
What year would you say that started in, OG?
It's hard for me to pinpoint a year, but I remember when I first realized it was back with Jermaine Dupri brought out Escape. It may have been before him. No, it was that I got a song in my head. It was in the 90s. It was in the early 90s when that started.
How about 1992?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, that's about right because I'm thinking of a lot of different groups. Jeanne or somebody like that, I think was the first one.
That's when
I recall.
That's when hip hop met R&B, and they kind of meshed. Groups like Jodeci.
Okay, yeah, I won't say they meshed immediately. R&B groups, a lot of R&B songs started. Hip hop producers were bringing out R&B groups is what was happening, but we didn't see it that way. What we saw was R&B groups coming up. Some of the new R&B groups were making songs to hip hop beats,
right?
Even though these hip hop beats were because we were criticized because our hip hop beats was based on some of the 70s R&B, but then some of the 90s R&B would start using the 80s version of that. So they started using 80s hip hop beats to make R&B songs. And eventually it started meshing into that. I won't say it didn't just start as a mesh. It started just like you throw a rap on an R&B song. And but now actually, go to an R&B on a rap song.
Right. Ooh.
I actually might go to like 1989 with one song. Don't Be Cruel, Bobby Brown.
Which was more R&B. Okay, I mean, so maybe it started in the 80s. I don't remember what year. But
I'm just saying.
Because that wasn't R&B. That was Babyface. That was not a hip hop beat. Look at like Jeanne or that group that did sipping on a Heineken. It was groups that was taking songs that were previously rap songs and using those beats. The same way rappers was using songs that used to be R&B beats in the 80s. It started probably started happening in the 80s when R&B groups started using songs that were previously rap. So, Montel Jordan, for an example, did a big R&B song to Slick Rick's beat. You know what I'm saying? Instead of rappers using an R&B beat, singers was using hip hop beats, and that started happening. So you're talking about Bobby Brown was no damn rap beat. That was by Babyface. That was original.
Oh, no, I'm not saying a rap beat, but that's the first time
No,
I
but
heard.
but that's what I'm saying. When I say that.
That was the first time I heard an R&B song with a rap on it.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh no, I heard it way before that.
he actually raps, and well, that's the first one that I heard.
No, there was a lot of. I mean, whereas the singer was rapping, okay, but that may be. But that wasn't even the first song of his I heard to do that. Well, I mean, because Candy Girl, my girl was Candy, a Candy Sweet. They rap.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. That was doing.
Yeah.
Me, man. They've been doing that forever. They've been doing that for a long time before that.
And see, when I think of hip hop and R&B, I think of like the Fugees or Lauryn Hill on her own. That's what I think of.
I think of Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hip hop R&B right there, Mary J.
Yeah. I think of Mary J. Blige, and that you branch out from that vibe, and that becomes a big. It's a subgenre within a genre.
Right.
Hip hop and R&B is it's R&B and hip hop. You know what I'm saying? But you wouldn't compare Jeanne or who's a class or a group that's truly hip hop and R&B. You know, to you wouldn't.
TLC.
You wouldn't compare that to Anita Baker.
Right.
They both R&B though.
Yeah.
But they one R&B and hip hop, one truly R&B. So there's an R&B, there's a hip hop, because you wouldn't compare them to Wu-Tang either.
No. Hell no.
Right? You ain't gonna do that. So there's an R&B genre, there's a hip hop genre, and somewhere in between there's a hip hop R&B subgenre.
Hip hop soul, they called it.
Well, there's a hip hop soul and there's a hip hop R&B genre.
Yeah.
Hip hop soul is not even the same. That's more neo soul. Neo soul.
Okay.
And soul is kind of a mesh of kind of a synonymous term. But hip hop R&B sits somewhere in between R&B and hip hop. It's right there, boom, in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense.
That brings us to this week's two lists. On the left hand, we got 7 hip hop supergroups we wish actually happened.
Okay.
On the right hand, we got the 25 dopest Rough Rider songs.
I'm down with the Rough Riders.
Ways? Rough Riders it is.
Yeah, Rough Riders. That was good. I'm happy to stay on that.
I said 25, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why they got 26 on here.
Because that's my birthday.
Well, apparently they got 26 on here. So Jenny from the Block.
There's probably a tie in there somewhere.
Right. Jenny from the Block, Jennifer Lopez featuring Jadakiss and Styles P.
Okay.
At number 25, They Ain't Ready, Rough Riders with Jadakiss, Timbaland, and Bubba Sparks.
Okay. You know, we forgot about Bubba Sparks when we was doing those lists, man.
Yeah.
Every single Bubba Sparks. I was riding down the street and heard a Bubba Sparks song come on and was like, none of us thought of this.
Man. Bubba was mad when he first came out with them. He had like 2-3 hits right away. And then he slowed down.
He fell off.
Yep. Well, he got hooked on pills.
Yeah, he ain't slowed down. He fell off.
Yeah, I saw an interview not too long ago.
Fell off. He was at the fell off picnic.
Wow.
Number 24, World War III, Rough Riders with Snoop Dogg, Young One, Scarface, and Jadakiss.
Okay.
23, Niggas Die For Me, Dragon featuring DMX. At 22, Who's That Girl by Eve.
Yeah.
I I might want to move that one up a little bit. But
Yeah, I think I want to move that one up.
Shoot that girl, la 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 la. All right,
Man.
let's go.
Number 21, Knock Yourself Out, Jadakiss.
Mhm.
Number 20, Got It All, Rough Riders with Eve and Jadakiss.
Yeah.
Number 19, Who We Be, DMX.
You know what? I'm keeping so far. I'm keeping Who's That Girl where it is because this list is kind of legit. I ain't gonna front.
Yeah.
At number 18, My Name is Kiss, Jadakiss. At number 17, What's My Name, DMX.
Woo!
Oh,
16 up gotta be fire if that's 17.
that's in my top 3.
At number 16, Let Me Blow Your Mind, Eve featuring Gwen Stefani.
That is a bad. That is a beast.
Hell yeah.
I ain't gonna fight it. I probably wouldn't have did that, but I'm not gonna fight it. I get it. That is a joint, but I probably I wouldn't have did it, but I ain't gonna fight it.
Right?
This one is actually much higher on my list. Number 15, Slipping by DMX.
That is another top 3.
Yeah, that was up there. That one is probably gonna move up for me.
Yeah. Number 14, Love Is Blind, Eve.
Top 10 for me.
That one's not over Slipping. Slipping is probably my top 5. I'm gonna say as of now, Slipping is in my top 5.
Oh yeah.
Until I hear 5 more I like better, Slipping is in my top 5.
Love Is Blind was actually written for Eve's best friend that was going through some domestic violence shit.
Okay.
Number 13, What They Really Want, DMX featuring Cisco.
Oh,
What they really want from a nigga.
Yeah, the real nigga anthem.
Number 12, Good Times, I Get High by Styles P. I get high, high,
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
put
Hey,
maybe,
dang it. This list is fire.
yeah.
Number 11, DMX, Stop Being Greedy.
Hey, yeah. I put that in my top 15. Yeah, I could have that there.
At number 10, Jadakiss with Why.
Oh no, top 5.
At number 9, Jigga, my nigga, Rough Riders with Jay-Z.
That's top 5 for me.
Top 10 for me.
I got 2 in my top 5 right now, so I ain't got to bump nobody yet.
At number 8, Ride or Die Bitch, The Locks with Eve and Timberland.
I need a ride or die. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna keep that where it's at though. I like.
At number 7, We Gon' Make It, Jadakiss featuring Eve and Styles P.
I'd have to put that at 6, right outside of my top 5.
Well, since you brought up number 6,
I'm gonna sit that at my 6 too.
Eve with Got a Man.
I probably would move that to 7 instead.
I'm still we gonna make it at 6.
Okay. At number 5, Go Ahead, The Locks.
I'm moving. I just moved. We gonna make it to 5.
At number 4, Down Bottom, Rough Riders with Dragon, Swiss Beats, and Juvenile.
Yeah, we rolling with that.
At number 3, Get At Me Dog, DMX featuring Chic Louch.
We rolling with that.
At number 2, What Y'all Want?
Which I really
No.
Oh, but y'all,
I really
that's number 1. That's number 1 right there.
E featuring Nokia.
Oh, that's number 1.
I was waiting for that.
Oh no. No. Number 1 is right where it belongs.
Yeah.
The Rough Riders anthem, DMX.
Shut them down, open up shop. Okay, all right. Okay, so I am bumping. I'm bump. What was number 5? But what was I? What was the one that I said? We gonna make it. That was my number 5. What was 4?
Number 4, Down Bottom, Rough Riders with Dragon featuring Swiss Beats and Juvenile.
I'm moving. I'm keeping We Gonna Make 'Em at 5. I'm bumping that one to 6, and I'm putting Slipping at 4. What was 3?
Just 1 second. 3 was Get At Me Dog, DMX, Chic Louch.
I'm swapping them two. Slipping is 3. I'm putting Slipping at 3. I'm keeping them but that'll be my 5. But I'm keeping Slipping at 3, and I'm keeping We Gonna Make It at my 5.
Ways?
I'm too high to remember what I had. I'm not gonna sit here in front with y'all like I know my list. I had it earlier. Now I didn't bother typing it down, so I'm kind of like, shit, I'm lost, bro.
Yeah, and you know what? The gummies kick in on this show.
That brings us to this week in hip hop history.
This week hip hop history.
June 23rd, 1992. Eric B and Rakim released their 4th studio album, Don't Sweat the Technique.
Don't sweat the technique.
A big mouth.
June 22nd, 1999, Missy Elliott released her 2nd studio album, The Real World.
The Real World.
Argue with your mama.
Okay.
June 22nd, 1962, Schoolie D was born.
Schoolie D.
What are we talking about? Practice?
June 21st, 1970, Pete Rock was born.
Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Pete Rock been doing some cool jazz CDs lately. If you ain't checked it out, look it up.
Okay.
Pete Rock on some jazz shit now. It's fire too. Dope.
Okay. June 21st, 1994, Bone Thugs and Harmony released their debut album, Creeping on the Come Up.
Ooh, it's the Thuggish Bone. It's the Thuggish Bone.
That was one of the first of the month on the 2, wasn't it?
I don't know. I know it had Thuggish Bone.
Okay. June 20th, 2017, RIP to Prodigy of Mobb Deep.
Rest in peace, Prodigy.
June 20th, 1980, Apollo Brown was born. I don't know who that is.
Apollo Brown.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
June 20th, 1995, Grand Puba released his 2nd solo album.
Grand Puba released a 2nd solo album.
2000.
After the first one flopped, he shouldn't have. But no, I'm just Puba should have stayed with the group. When Puba went solo, he underachieved. I was underwhelmed. I thought he should have went though. I mean, because he was the star of the group, but when he actually did go solo, it wasn't as good as the other stuff.
Okay. June 20th, 1995, Mac 10 released his self-titled debut album, Mac 10.
Mac 10.
Sugar don't go on grits.
June 19th, Eric B and Rakim was busy in the month of June, damn near every year. June 19th, 1990, they released their 3rd album, Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em.
Let the rhythm hit him.
Okay.
That just means that they're consistent.
Okay.
June 18th, 2021, Timothy Jerome Parker, better known as Gift of Gab of Black Alicious, died.
Oh, damn. Hey, freeze, pause.
Okay.
Pause for a minute.
Yep.
Ways. All right, I'm sorry. We had to take a short break because I'm in my old age. I can't hold my piss like I used to. So, and I done dropped. I done knocked off damn near a couple beers, and my bladder ain't got control like it used to. When it's got to go, nigga, pause.
It's all good.
Take a
It's all
pause for
good.
this cause. Because I got to
Uh,
pull them out my drawers. But not to stick it in nobody's jaws. I just need to empty my balls.
I got two more things for this week in hip hop history.
What about Lou Rawls?
June 18th, 1991, Third Base released their second album, Derelicts of Dialect.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
Which
guys?
album was that?
That was their second album.
Oh, okay. That first one was okay.
Did you know that Third Base was actually in competition with the leaders of the New School?
For
Actually the name of leaders of the New School.
oh, really? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, leaders. They were both under Chuck D, and he sent them out and told them to write a battle rap between the two.
And the winner
got the name Leaders of the New School.
Big Ed hitting us with some old school knowledge. Had to give him a shout real quick.
And the last thing in today in hip hop history, June 17th, 1987, one of the best rappers of the new generation is born, Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar.
Oh,
And that brings this week's smoke session to a close, fellas.
Oh, damn, I hate to see it go.
Man, we went through a lot of old school shit today.
we did. We really did. It was nice.
Sugar don't go on grits.
We did props. We did props to hip hop and 50 this week.
Yes, sir.
So, and I look forward to continuing it on.
Guess what?
But we'll see y'all on Tuesday, fellas.
Guess what?
Or later. What if it's we'll see.
Sound like OG got something else in mind.
No, man, I'm on this gummy. I holler at y'all. Gummy got me